Yeah, hello. Good afternoon. Wednesday. Uh, what is today? The 13th? Yeah. So, like I said in the title of my show today, I've pretty much got everybody caught up on what's happening to me. Um, it's gonna be a long, boring, almost 5 weeks. And I don't get a break from doing that because in a month, uh, or is it 5 weeks? I hope it's 5 weeks because I'm gonna pretty much be doing nothing for about, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks, and then I've got to go down to the cities, get my back injection. So yeah, for about like I said, I tell everybody for about the next 5 weeks, I'm not doing anything, and that's because I can't. Hey, hello, kid. Yeah, I have audio. My mic is the green bar is dancing, so I know there is audio. I do know it works, and if it hadn't, I usually try to get here a little bit earlier to kind of test things to see if things are working, but I was busy in the other room getting some other stuff done. And I looked down at the clock and it said 2:58. Like, oh shit, I gotta get going. Um, and speaking of which, of getting going, I'm only gonna be here till about 2:45 because I've got to be somewhere at 3. A little bit shorter of a video live stream today, but no, let's see. Ken, hello, Jeff. Hello, William. Yeah, first from Vegas. You know that is one place I've never visited. Never seen Vegas. I've never seen any of it. I've seen pictures of it. My dad's been to California. My dad's been on the 5-lane highway, which he didn't like being in the middle of, because somehow they pushed him out into the middle lane. So he had 2 lanes on either side, and he's like, "No, I gotta get out." And he doesn't like driving on that road. It's not a road; it's a highway. Very crowded, very busy 5-lane highway. My dad hates being on that highway. He doesn't like it. And nerve wise, I don't think I'd be able to handle it. Even if I was a passenger, I don't like being around that much traffic. But how you doing, William? Yeah, one of these days, William, I need to get on Google Street View. I need to go up and down the streets of the town you live in, which I'm not gonna say what that is right now, but I know what it is. I've got your zip code, and I'll just get on Google Maps Street View and walk around your city for a little while. In fact, oh, maybe I don't have it, but I thought I did. So you live in a boulevard. Hmm. I got part of your address thing right here. Because I was gonna do a satellite view of the area you live in. Seen the street view, but I haven't seen the satellite view. That's from the top looking down. Found it. Hmm. Um, yeah, I think I can figure this out. Still got my 16 terabyte flash drive, which I was gonna use, and I never did, but I'm going to, because now I've got some things I need to use it for. One of these things that I'm gonna do while I'm kind of stuck in my apartment for almost 5 weeks is I'm going to clean and organize this desk a little bit. Like on the third day after I'm home, the first 2 days that I'm home after I get home on the 21st, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. I ain't doing nothing for nobody, even for myself. I'm just gonna be laying in bed, taking it easy, and then just on the fourth day come out here and just kind of sit and organize this whole area that has just gotten kind of out of control. So I need to get it back to where it looks better than what it does. This desk really isn't big enough. It's not long enough. And you'd think it would, as long as it is. It's wide enough, but it's not quite long enough. Need another probably 5 inches on either side. But then that would make this desk look awfully funny if I did it that way, so I don't know. I'm still thinking of getting a new desk. If you guys have any suggestions on cheap but good Hutch desks, let me know, because I'm going to be looking for one here pretty soon. I've had this for about 5 years, maybe 6. I don't think it's been longer than 7. I think I've had it for maybe 5 or 6 years, but I there were mistakes made when I built this thing, and I could ask Brett if he could make it. It'd be built better, but it's also going to be a lot heavier because this is pressed wood. This desk, it's pressed wood. Oh yeah, the five lane highways can. Yeah, I know other people have done that, and these people I talked to didn't have the nerve for it. I mean, they got on. They only had to be on it for like 6 or 7 miles, but that was enough. The guy lives in Brandon over in Northeast, and he told me he's been on that 5 lane highway, and he said those 7 miles could not get over soon enough. He was white knuckling his steering wheel. He was constantly looking in his mirrors. And again, he was in the second lane over to the right, so he had 3 lanes to the left of him, and he said he was just no, he wasn't ready for that. He drove all the way down there on 2 or 3 lane roads and highways. And this whole time he was thinking, well, a 5 lane highway, it can't be that bad. He quickly changed his mind once he was on that 5 lane highway, and he says, oh my God, gotta get the hell off. He didn't like it. He said, no, that was the last time he went to California. That was probably 8 years ago by now. I talked to him about that, I think, last year. And I talked to him about it since then. And he's talked to other people that have been on that highway, and unless you're on that highway every single day for 365 years, those people are the probably one that are people that are used to it and will sweat bullets over it. But that was his first time being on that highway, and he said it was the first and the last. He hasn't been back since. What the hell is? Okay, whatever. Yeah, that is true. I always find ways of filling in the desk, but yeah, I know if I got a bigger one, I would just add more junk to it. And I've got enough junk on this table. See, the thing I do like, and I know you guys are going to like me doing this, but I'm going to do it just once. I'm going to show you. The only thing I like about this desk is that hutch thing right there. This here opens. That's the only thing that I really like about that desk. This desk. That and the drawers. That one there, which is the one that I've been kind of going through and organizing. And then the file cabinet that is busted. That filing cabinet, it's all made out of wood and plastic. And wood and plastic on desks, in my opinion, is a bad combination. Shouldn't have plastic and wood in the same area. It just doesn't. And those have the really, really thin, I mean, super thin plastic rails to hold the drawer in place. Well, let me show you something. The front thing of the whole thing, these plastic pieces, busted. These plastic pieces here broke, and I can't find other replacements for it. I called the company that manufactured this desk, and you just get it in a big long box. I asked them if they have the pieces to this desk, and they said that desk has been out of production for the last 4 years. The only choice you have is to have someone else build the same drawer or buy a new desk. That company is still in existence, and they make hutch desks, but they make a different kind of a hutch desk now, and they don't have the parts to this drawer anymore. So yeah, with pressed wood, they just don't last long, especially yeah. If you're like me and you try moving this thing while stuff is on it, the backboard here is busted. So it didn't take much to break it. I was under the desk and I got up too quickly and my shoulders hit that board hard enough that it pushed it forward. It broke the whichever you call it, whatever, however they attach. I don't know, but um, I don't know. I need to do something. I know everybody else that's coming over here is getting tired of looking at this desk and looking at the desk and it's broken. They keep looking at me and said, Rick, when are you gonna do something about this desk? Probably when I can come up with another $300 to replace it. And Dan looked at me, said, it cost you how much? Back when I bought this thing, it was two almost three. Well, it was 30. No, it wasn't 300 something. It was two. I think it was almost 300 now. I'm thinking about it. I should have bought it at a sale price, but I didn't because I was kind of in a hurry. I said I need a desk and I need a desk now. The only thing I might do differently, and I have been thinking about this, is hmm, I don't know if that'll work or not. Yeah, I was thinking maybe getting a small desk, a small desk with a huge monitor, and then just using a mini computer for out here. Although I can't use OBS and all the other high, I don't think that'll all work. So I'm kind of back to using a desktop. But everybody's telling me, he said, why don't you just get a high powered mini PC and then just do everything from there? You mean, and then getting rid of this desks? And he said, well, it does take up a lot of, yeah, but then what am I going to do with my books, my speakers, my light, my everything I've got on here? What am I going to do with all that? I'd like to put it somewhere, and I just don't want to shove it in a closet. And Bob and Nate and Dan looked at me and said, we don't know what you're going to do, but you need to do something. And he's right. They're right. I do need to do something. Um, or just, there's other things I'm having to pay for at the moment. There's, well, for this hospital visit I've got coming up on the 20th, I won't have to pay a single penny towards that. My insurance will take care of it, but I've got to get my bike in to get fixed. I was going to do that this month. But with everything else going on, um, hey Darren, with everything else going on, I've had to put off getting my bike fixed. And I was going to do that. I don't know, I was going to go in this week or next week. And then they're going to keep it for about 2 weeks. Which then I would have to have someone actually go over there and pick up my bike for me and bring it back because, like I said, I won't be leaving this apartment for about 3 to 4 weeks. And this time, being that they think they may, I and them, it was kind of a combined deal with who screwed up what. But um, the surgeon said what they should have done the first time. There's two things they should have done differently the first time. They should have used the mesh. And they should have kept me on bed rest for about 3 weeks. And that's what this doctor, the surgeon's going to do. And he thinks they didn't do the first time, which is why my hernia is coming back. That surgeon nor the doctor I had at that time told me, well, he said what they said is take it easy for a couple of days. No really big physical activities. And what did I do the first day I came home that evening, that night? I went through my bedroom closet. I shouldn't have done that. He said, no, this time you're going to go home. You're going to stay in bed for 2 days. We'll send you a note in my chart on the third day. And kind of be up walking around and then kind of going laying back down again. For the third day, and then the fourth day, I want to try getting down to second floor. Kind of say hi to everybody and then come back upstairs. I can do that, but the activities I'm going to have are going to be very, very limited for 4 weeks. Which sucks. Because I know my mom will make sure I'm not riding my bike for at least. Oh, she'll extend it beyond 4 weeks. And I know the doctor is going to want her to do that, but she's going to want to make sure she doesn't think 4 weeks is long enough. So she's going to have me go 5.5 weeks. 2 weeks of staying in bed. And this is the doctor told her, he looked at her and said, you don't need to do that. He needs to be in bed rest for about 3 days. Then after that, he can stay in his apartment and be up walking around. Maybe like on the 4th or 5th day, he'll go downstairs a second and say hi to everybody, but then go right back upstairs and stay there for another couple of weeks. So I know once I get home, I get out of the hospital, my mom's going to call me. She said, well, I know what the surgeon told you to do, but I'm going to extend that by another week. So 5 weeks of not doing anything. Boring. Which after this live stream and after I get back from where I've got to go, I'm actually going to write that surgeon a note and let him know. See, while I'm in surgery, someone's going to be talking to her and tell her she can't do what she's doing. The doctors told me 1 week, maybe 2 or 3 days of doing absolutely nothing, then light activities for about the next 2 weeks, and I'll be fine after that. So they're gonna have to back her down of 5 weeks of doing absolutely nothing. But I know why she's doing it. She just wants to make absolutely sure that the surgery I'm gonna have is gonna hold this time, because last time it didn't. Um, but again, once I'm gonna write him in my chart, and I'm gonna ask him exactly how long do I have to be stuck in my apartment, because I'm stuck in like a 400 square foot apartment. There's not a lot to do here. I don't have much to do, so I'm gonna get really bored really quick. Um, More than likely, he's gonna tell me just to kind of take it easy for the first week, and after that, just very light duty stuff. Probably won't be riding my bike. I know I won't be riding my bike for about, I don't know. I think he might go 3 weeks, which again, that's gonna suck because. But like I've told everybody, don't expect to hear from me for about 5 weeks. Because after I get done with this, after a month, that very next week, I'm going down to Minneapolis to get my cortisone injection shot. So yeah, the next 5 weeks are gonna be kind of. I get the front side worked on me, then I get my back worked on. Then sometime in October, October 21st, I gotta go to my dentist, get my teeth cleaned. So medical wise, I've got a lot of stuff going on. Um, some of it I wish I wasn't going through, but hernia surgery really isn't all that bad. Um, at least the first time it wasn't. I don't know how it'll go the second time, but I'm guessing it'll be fine. It's just the thing that sucks for me is just not doing anything for up to a month. Up to. Because, like I said, we're gonna I'm gonna get in my chart and find out what the real story is. And thank God my mom and I live in two different towns. She's an hour and 15 minutes south of me. If the surgeon and the doctors tell me no real activity for about the first 2 weeks, and then be up walking around on the third week to see how you feel, that's when he's gonna probably get a hold of me, is on the third week. I'm pretty sure he's gonna tell me there'll be no staying in bed for a month. That's not necessary. But while I'm in the surgery, which is only going to be 20 minutes, I'm pretty sure someone's going to talk to her and back her down from the 5 weeks of doing absolutely nothing. I'll be fine as long as I don't do what I did on the first time. It's just come home and clean out my closet. I shouldn't have done that. I wasn't feeling horrible, but I also was aware of the fact that I just had surgery the day before, so maybe I shouldn't be cleaning my closet, but I was bored. I couldn't go out that door. I couldn't she kept me home for 2 weeks. But now my mom's kind of panicking. She's thinking, well, he's having the surgery for a second time. We're gonna make sure it ain't gonna come back a third time. Which the surgeon is already doing that. That's why he's putting that mesh in. So this doesn't come back for the third time, but I can't convince my mom of that. She says, "Oh, no, that's not the only reason. You need to be on bed rest for at least 4 or 5 weeks." And no, no, the doctors and the surgeons will tell her that. While I'm on surgery, someone's gonna talk to my dad and mom, because I found out. Well, I knew my dad was gonna be coming up. So I don't know how that's gonna work out after I get out of surgery, and then having to talk to my mom again, because she's gonna tell me, why did you tell him what you said? Well, because you're gonna want me on bed rest for 5 weeks, and I know that's not necessary. And then she's gonna ask me, well, how do you know this hernia surgery is gonna heal the way it's supposed to? If you're out riding your bike and out running around the building, you can't be doing that right after surgery. If the surgeon says I can do it, I'll I'll take his advice. So after 3 weeks, he said if I can go back to light duty stuff, well then after 3 weeks, I'm gonna go back to light duty stuff. I'll take what the doctor says over what my mom says. My mom ain't a doctor. She's not a surgeon. She's just scared to death that I'm gonna have a third surgery because I'm not gonna get enough bed rest between the surgery and when I can go back to normal everyday activities, which is riding my bike, going from one place to another, doing what I do. That's probably gonna be 3 weeks to 4 weeks away. Um, it sounds like my surgery is gonna be in the morning, around 9 or 10. I hope it's not 8 o'clock. I don't want to be up that early. Let me sleep in a little bit. Yeah, no, I guess that's when he does most of his surgeries, and he does the afternoons ones are usually there's no choice, you have to do it now kind of surgeries. He does those in the afternoon, but the people like me that have been waiting 2 weeks to have his surgery, he does those in the morning, and then the more critical have to do now surgeries are in the afternoon. I forget how many he does of those a day. I think he does 5 or 6 hernia surgeries a day. Not every day, but 3 or 4 times out of the week, he's doing just boom, 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 one person after another. He gets done with one person, puts them in recovery. At the same time, someone's getting rolled in for the next surgery. So he keeps pretty busy. Not something I'd want to be doing. Hello, Charlie. How soon for the operation? The 20th of this month. So another 7 days. And it's an incarcerated hernia, which means it's cutting its. Uh, Maybe somebody here knows the explanation better than I do, but from what I remember him saying is, it's cutting off its own blood supply. Um, it's wrapped around something, and it's cutting off its own blood supply, and then it does something even worse after that. And he said that's why we got to take care of it now, because if it goes to that next stage, you're a dead bunny. I looked at him. I said, "What? What do you mean I'm a dead bunny?" He said, "You won't be yet. That's why we've only got a 2 week period to get the surgery, because on the third week, bad things will start to happen." And I said, "Okay, like what?" He's like, "You'll be dead." My mom leaned forward and said, "What do you mean he'll be dead?" Because I can't remember what he said, but the hernia does something, and then it completely does something, and then 2 or 3 days later, it just kind of goes inside your guts. Everything just kind of goes kaboom, and oh, you usually drop dead when that happens. So he wants to take care of this sooner than later, which is why I'm surprised they're waiting 2 weeks. Actually, two and a half, almost 3 weeks. I'm surprised they're waiting that long, but he knows the timetable is to when the incarcerated hernia, how long that will last, and he's gonna go right up to the door of disaster. He's gonna be a day or two before things down here really start to go south. So he's gonna catch it just before things go bad. And I said, "Do you do this with all of your surgeries?" Like, no. He said, "No, but the way things are being timed out with you, I think the day we do your surgery, we're gonna have a day or two before things really go bad. So you've got some time yet." He's watching the timetable carefully, and when I saw him, what, Monday? I can't remember when. Friday? Yeah. He said he kind of felt down here. He just kind of kind of pushed and prodded, and he said, and he got a hold of the hernia itself, and he just kind of squeezed it. And ouch! And he said, "Yeah, I did that because I'm wanting to see how far that incarcerated hernia is." And he looked and said, "Yeah, you got about, I'd say about 2.5 weeks, which will be the 20th." So he kind of felt down there, kind of squeezed, and he had me say, "Ouch, that hurt." He got a hold of the hernia itself and just kind of lightly squeezed it, and oh my god, that hurt. And he said, "Yeah, you got about 2.5 weeks, and that'll be the 21st, and we're having the surgery on the 20th, so he's catching it 2 or 3 days before it goes south and things really go bad." And I said, once it starts that process, if you're not in the hospital, there's no stopping it. The one way it'll stop is when it kills you. And he said, hernias can be deadly if they're not taken care of within a certain timetable. And that's why he's being careful with me. And he kind of went down there and kind of squeezed it a little bit, see how incarcerated it is. And he kind of said, yeah, he got about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So, yeah, the 20th will work. I didn't like what he did, though. I really didn't like that. But he kind of had to feel down there with both of his hands. He was kind of pressing into it. He kind of squeezed it. And that's when he kind of said, yeah, you got about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks left. But he'd rather catch it sooner than later before it does start its process of going bad, from bad to worse. Yeah, he sounds like he knows what he's doing. He sounds like he's well educated on hernias, and he said the hernia I have is the second to the worst. There is one hernia that you can have that's worse than mine, but an umbilical hernia, that's bad enough. He said the other kind of hernia you have, you don't want to play with that. They usually get you into surgery instantly on those. And umbilical hernia, depending on how bad it is. See, we caught mine early enough because back when this whole thing started, um, I was, yeah, was I in the hospital for? No, no, I was in the hospital first time because of, and I didn't know which was acting up on me. I didn't know if it was my ulcerative colitis or if my hernia had come back, which is what I was suspecting. Well, after an hour of being in the hospital, they came back in, two nurses and a doctor, who said, "Well, Rick, we've got good news and we've got bad news." Well, he said it that way, and I said, "Let me take the guesswork out of it. My hernia is back." He said, "Yeah, it is." Son of a said, "Yeah, so you're gonna have to have surgery again. Um, Probably about a month, about 4 weeks. Well, he said back then about 5 weeks, which that's been changed twice now. Um, I was supposed to be in the hospital. It got canceled once because of the medication I was on, and uh, the doctor I was seeing on Monday, he got me off one of the medications. Um, he got another medication I'm on decreased temporarily, just so that I can have this surgery. Um, but yeah, I was in the night I went to the hospital, which is the night I was on the Ken Stout live show, and on that live show, I kind of said to everybody, but Ken read it. I said, I think I'm going to end up going to the hospital tonight because the pain level I was at when I was here at home was probably a 7. By the time I got to the hospital, it was definitely, the pain level was a 9. It was almost unbearable. Um, which the doctors kind of knew that when they walked in and said, "It looks like you're kind of hurt." And they said, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's my hernia or if it's my ulcerative colitis, but something isn't right." Um, X-rays and the CAT scan or whatever is where you drink that fluid, that red fluid or whatever it is, to get the whatever to show up in an X-ray or something. I can't remember, MRI, or I can't remember. CAT scan, I think it was what it was. Um, but they did that, and that's when they found out. Say, no, it's not your ulcerative colitis. You got a hernia. Like, oh. Let me guess again. The same one I had the first time. She said, yeah, it looks to be the same hernia you had the first time. Maybe it's moved a little bit over from where the first one was, but still, when I looked at it, that's a hernia. Um, okay. I did ask him if this is common for hernias to come back. He said not really. Um, there's a few that do, but it depends on how your treatment was, how your treatment went when you left the hospital. And did you follow instructions according to what you were supposed to, like bed rest for 2 or 3 weeks? Like, and then in my mind, I'm thinking, no, I didn't. And he asked me if I was doing something else. I said, no, I didn't. I was thinking that all to myself. I didn't tell him, no, I didn't, because he would have gotten pissed. Um, that's why my mom intervened this time. She's this time you're gonna be in bed for at least up to a month, and I don't know. I've got to get that changed because I can't stay in bed for a month. That's just, and I'm sure the surgeon won't want me to stay in bed for a month. The best thing you can do on that kind of surgery is to get up and walk around a little bit, slowly, but seeing they'll have me walking the night I'm in the hospital. They'll get me up every 2 hours, and I walk to the end of the hall, and then I walk back and walk back to my room. They have me do that about every 2 hours. They get me up and they have me walking. Not right after surgery, but like if I have my surgery at 10 o'clock and it gets done at 11, I'd say by 1 o'clock I'll be walking to one end of the hall to the other. And then at 3 o'clock, do the same thing again. 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And if I'm up at 11 o'clock at night, which more than likely I will be, they'll have me walk the hall again. So, like walking in, you have that little IV machine you have to drag with you, and I don't like those things. I don't like them at all. Um, then they get those hoses stuck up your nose, which I always take that off because I don't need air. I'm fine. Um, so yeah, there'll be some uncomfortable things in the hospital. The air hose shoved up your nose. I don't like that. In fact, in my note that I'm going to write to him today, I'm going to ask him, do I really need to be on air when I'm in the hospital? So why am I getting air when I don't think I need it? I can breathe just fine. But they had me on air last time, and I'm going to see if I can get out of that this time because I don't think I need it. Yeah, that's what the doctor told me. He said hernias can kill you. They go from the incarcerated hernia to I can't remember what he said. My mom can't either because I asked her. It's like, what did he say after it becomes incarcerated hernia? And she said, I can't remember what he said, but I do remember him saying hernias can kill you. Yeah, that I did hear. um, so, uh, I don't know. I'm kind of. Oh, it's 2:40 already. Wow. So about 2:50 here. I'll go to about 2:47, 2:48. Then I'm gonna just let you guys go because I gotta be somewhere at 3 o'clock, and that's only like a little over 5 minutes from here. And I told them I'd be there, I'd be walking in their door about 3 o'clock. So I'm gonna shut this live stream down here in about 5 minutes. But yeah, that's all the news for me. That's all I know. Life is gonna be kind of boring for the next 5 weeks or 4 weeks. Like I said, I'm gonna ask that doctor or surgeon exactly how long am I gonna be on bed rest and how long can I go without riding my bike. I'm hoping he doesn't say 3 weeks, but my mom is guessing he'll keep me off the bike for maybe 3 weeks to 4 to a month. I hope not. I tell you, I don't deal with boredom very well. I never have. That's why I always got in trouble when I was a kid because I was bored. So I started doing things that would entertain me, and the next thing I know, my parents are saying, "Stop that! Why? I'm bored." Well, you can't do that. Why not? I'm bored. Thank God we lived out in the country, and they said just go out walk in the woods, which is the next place I like being is the woods. But yeah, I don't handle boredom very well. Hello, Wintermute. Yeah, strangulated hernia. That's what it is. Incarcerated to strangulated. Yeah, he can. It once it gets to that point, things go downhill really quick. I mean, like within 4 days. Fifth or sixth day, I probably won't be alive because that whole thing down there, like I said, it just goes kaboom and ah. I don't think I'll feel much of it because I'm gonna drop dead pretty soon. But he said, yeah, you don't want to feel that. That's not good. And he doesn't know a person yet that has survived that. So he said, if that puts any importance to you as to how critical you gotta have the surgeries, because once those things downstairs go kaboom, you won't survive it. It's impossible. It's just like an aneurysm. Once that goes, you're pretty much done for. Well, the hernia, once it goes to that second stage after being incarcerated, yeah, I'm not gonna go down that road. So that's why that's why I'm gonna. That's why they are gonna have that surgery when they're gonna have it. But that's why yesterday he kind of poked around, or I mean, not yesterday, Monday, I think. He kind of poked around and prodded and kind of squeezed. And when he squeezed it, that's when I said ouch the way I did. He's like, yeah, you got about 3 or 4 weeks, and we're gonna have to do something with that. Otherwise, it's gonna go to the next stage, and you won't survive that. So, not exactly what I wanted to hear, but I'm kind of glad that I did because then I won't ignore it like I do most health situations that I have. I just ignore it until it gets to the point where, okay, well, now we gotta do something about it. Why'd you wait? Well, it didn't hurt. It wasn't bothering me, so I just went on with life. You shouldn't have done that. And that's why with this hernia, when I was having that pain that night, I knew I had to go in because from the first time I had the hernia and the second time I was in the hospital with my ulcerative colitis, and I was hoping it wasn't going to be my ulcerative colitis because I think if I remember the paperwork correctly, it said if Mr. Rick Lakes comes to the hospital again with a pain level over 7, more than likely there will be no option and he will have to have the surgery. So I've kind of told him that everything with the hernia or the ulcerative colitis is fine. I think what's been kind of messing things up is for the last month or so, I've had that hernia down there, and I'm thinking, well, that's just my ulcerative colitis acting up on me because I'd get the pain in my belly button that they turned into an innie instead of an outie. It pokes out quite a bit, and oh my god, does it get painful? The one thing I hope none of you go through is getting an umbilical hernia. It is not, because part of the problem I'm having. Yeah, see if I stretch far enough, It's taking that whole tissue and it's stretching it, and that's kind of hurting. So, and I told him, and he said, "Does it kind of hurt when you stretch a little?" It's like, "Yeah." And, okay, yeah. He got about 4 weeks. And we're gonna have to do something before it does, and you don't want to do what it's gonna do. So, you're right, I don't. So that's when he said, "Yeah, the 20th. No buts ifs ands about it this time. You are going to have surgery on the 20th." Okay. I wasn't arguing, and my mom said, "Well, as long as nothing," and he looked at her and said, "Rick will be having surgery on the 20th." She looked at him and said, "Okay, fine." But my dad's also going to be up here, so if she can't make it up here, which I'm sure she will, even though it's been 30 years since my dad seen my mom, he's in for a shock. Oh my God, is he in for a shock? Um, my mom is, I see her almost every other week. So seeing her, I don't see all the changes she's gone through, but I have noticed that she's getting more wrinkles. Her eyes are starting to sag a little bit more. So I looked at her the other day, or a couple weeks ago on my birthday, when we were out to eat, and I just looked up at her. It's like, "Mom, you're starting to not age well." They said, "Rick, you're the second person that's told me that." It's like, "Yeah, you're starting to get really." I think, "Yeah, I know. That's what happens when you're 83 years old. You get wrinkles." Well, yeah, you also have the. She kind of looked at me and said, "Okay, stop." Like, okay, just pointing a couple of things out to you. So I don't. Yeah, my dad. He hasn't seen her in like 30 years since. Well, he hasn't seen her. He hasn't seen her since my wedding. Since the day I had my the after wedding thing. We came back to my house, and well, I actually had one of these videos on my bike. I'll show you the house that I used to live in. It's a duplex. There's two apartments downstairs and two apartments upstairs. No. One, two, three. Three apartments downstairs, two upstairs. That's how it, because there's that small little tiny yeah, I gotta go here pretty soon, but there's that one tiny efficiency apartment that is basically just a small square room. And off that square room, off in the one corner is the bathroom. And that's all you get. I don't know. I've said I was there. When the hell was I there? 3D copy. Hello, Heather. 3D copy. Hmm. So that's the news with me. It's just gonna be a very boring 3 to 4 weeks coming up. Um, and I hate being bored. I don't like it when I don't have anything to do, which lately that's kind of how it's been because I won't be going back to work for at least I don't know, 4 to maybe 5 weeks. So I'm gonna be going through a lot here medical wise for the next 5 weeks. Most of it's gonna be bed rest, but on the 20th, yeah, gotta have the surgery, and then I think 4 weeks after that, I don't know. I'd have to check on the scheduling because I'd have to check and see when my surgery, or not surgery, when I have to be down there. It's not August. It's October something. I think the first second week of October. I think. I don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows, but what I do know is 250, actually 251. So I gotta get going. I got a place I gotta be at that I told him I'd be there around 3 or a little after 3. And if I don't hurry up pretty soon, I'm not gonna be there at a little after 3. And it's sunny skies out, it's light winds, it's a beautiful day, so yeah, I think I'm gonna go out and enjoy the weather. Go out biking around for a while, then stop in there, talk to that person. Gotta stop at the pharmacy, and I gotta stop at another store, and then I come back home. So, how long after the surgery can I be sitting up? I'll be sitting up almost. Um, I don't know, Ken. I think I'll be sitting up like I am now. Probably. Well, I know after I have my surgery, I won't be on doing any live streams or be on Zoom for 2 nights. I'm gonna give myself some rest and just kind of lay around for 2 days. So on the 23rd, I will be doing my live streams and be back on Zoom at night. But for 2 nights afterwards, I don't think I should be doing either. I'll be sitting up. I won't really be able to sit like I am right after surgery, but that's why I'm gonna give myself 2 days of rest. Just kind of come home and just lay in bed for a couple of days, let things kind of settle down here, and then I don't know how. I don't think it bothered me the first time sitting up, but I think I don't know, Ken. I think it'll almost be instant after surgery. I'll be sitting up. In fact, I'm sure they will have me sit up after surgery, because that's one of the things they'll find out is you sit up. If you have instant pain that goes through the roof of pain level of 12, the surgeon knows he did something wrong, and unfortunately, have to put me back in there, cut me back open again to find it. But usually, that's usually a tissue issue, and he said usually that dissipates within 2 or 3 hours of surgery. So I think when I get home, I think I'll be laying in bed, just kind of watching YouTube and watching my movies for a couple of days. But I think I'll be okay for sitting up on the third day. I think I'll be fine after surgery. I'm pretty sure that's what they'll have me do is after I wake up from the anesthesia or whatever, he's gonna sit me up and see how much complaining I do. I didn't do any the first time because that's what they did. They had me laying down, and they had me sit up for about 5 minutes, and he came back. So, how you feeling? It's like I feel like I could lay back. So he laid me back down. He said, "Well, at least we can get you to sit up, not for long, but at least you did." That kind of tells me the surgery was successful. So hopefully this surgery will be the same. So I think I'll be sitting up the day of surgery, but after I get home, I'm gonna lay around for 2 days and kind of let things settle and go back into their place. And the only thing about that surgery that I don't like is they put a lot of air into you. So I'll just be. uh, I look horrible after surgery because I look like I'm bloated because I'm twice the size from here down to my waist area. I look like I'm 3 times. I look like it looks like I'm inflated. in my stomach area, and that's because they introduced so much air during the surgery that you kind of swell up. That air is gonna kind of dissipate after a couple of days. So, but with that, guys, I'm going to let you go. Hope you all have a great day. I do thank each and every one of you for stopping by here, and if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up and hit the like button if you could. I mean, it's a free thing to do. Don't cost you anything. Um, I'd appreciate it if you would. My like count on these live streams have not quite been where I like them to be. So, if you people please could hit the like and hit the thumbs up or whatever, I'd greatly appreciate it. And yeah, hope you all have a great day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Same time, same place. Probably won't be talking about the same thing. I'll try to talk about something different, even though the surgery's been on my mind. So I'll talk about a little bit about it, but we'll get back to the Windows stuff and other stuff probably tomorrow. It's just that I'm starting to get nervous, and I get a little bit nervous during the surgery, even though I really shouldn't be. There's nothing about this surgery that's gonna be bad, but anytime you're going under the knife, anytime you're getting put under with anesthesia or whatever, there's always the what ifs. But it didn't happen that last time, so I don't think it'll happen this time. But yeah. Anyhow, I'm gonna go. So hope you all have a great day. And Ken, I will see you tonight. Hopefully, if everything goes right, I will be on Zoom later on tonight. Um, hey, watching Six Legs, yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, I'll see you guys later on tonight. So I'll catch you all later. Bye for now.